In this video, I made huge gains to my Legion gear embossing ability. So let's get into it. With Abyssal Expedition coming to an end, I was able to beat Manon and complete it. I got some growth potions, but most importantly, I got the Legion block. The Legion block gives an extra plus 35 weapon and magic attack, which is pretty good, but also it doesn't affect the character limit and gives me more blocks on the grid. After doing all the storehouses I could, I was still a bit short of 8k, but luckily the strawberry farm event came right after. Essentially the same as the storehouse, but you can enter much more frequently. Also, remember, only the 42 highest level characters contribute to Legion level. I almost made the mistake, but luckily caught it. With all the strawberry farm entries finished, I got my Beast Tamer, Bishop, Phantom, Xenon to level 200. With all that done, I got my 8k Legion and here's my new Legion board. Fully completed, boss damage, IAD, and critical damage. 9k seems kinda crazy right now, but maybe eventually. I forgot to record the actual drop, but out of nowhere I got the Guardian Angel Slime Ring. And now I have one more bossing ring when this is Starforced. Speaking of Starforce, I got super lucky with my 30% off Starforce enhancement. Not only did I get my CRA to 21 stars, but I got my whole Superior Golux set to 21 stars as well, plus some other equips. I brought in 70 billion but didn't even need to go through all of it, and there goes all my luck this year. If you want to see most of it, I have a posted video about it. I potential my new equips to Legendary and try to get 18% and higher main stats on them. Because my Kana ring has now shifted to my main equips, I swapped out one of my event rings and made it another drop gear. The Black Bean mark was also made into drop gear as it was replaced by the Papulatus mark. My old Superior gear was also shifted out, and the ring and pendant were made into drop gear. The only problem is that I have to be very careful about which one I'm currently equipping because they're the same item. You cannot visually tell if you're currently holding the item drop one or the main stat one until you hover over them. Not too big of a problem, but I do mess up sometimes. With my drop gear, I have 184% drop rate and 214% with familiars. With my main gear without attack buffs, my range is 19 mil to 22 mil, which is crazy to hear. After all the item upgrades, it's finally time to fight Lucid and Will, but of course, I was feeling spicy and skipped straight to normal without doing the easy versions. And this is how it went. Lucid was the first one I tackled and it went a lot better than expected. Also, with the Konosuba event, I got 1 extra life thanks to the darkness save. The first phase went pretty well because the burst from 6 job did amazingly. Also, she was stationary, so I was able to hit my burst without much issue. I played a bit sloppy, so I also procced my darkness save and darkness ascending skill. Funny enough, both have darkness in the name and basically give me 1 extra life. I move into the second phase with 9 lives remaining. This is where you see my inexperience. I watched a guide, but this was my first time facing Normal Lucid. I knew coming into the fight that the top right platform is a lifesaver and can dodge some of her one-shot moves. The only problem is that I stayed on the platform for too long and just waited for her to come there. Because I wasn't chasing her a lot and dealing consistent damage, I was losing a lot of lives as the fight was going on. Essentially, I was taking 1 bar of health for one of my lives. I almost mess up, but at the end with 1 life remaining, I clutch it and get the win. With it, I am finally able to get the butterfly droplet stone. Now, time for Will. Will was much harder and caused me a bunch of problems during the test and last phase. I did not beat Will until the next week after a bunch of practice tries. I'd recommend the Jamuzen Normal Will guide because it's very easy to follow and goes through everything you need to know to beat Will. Also, for phase 2 test, if you're having trouble, I would highly recommend MapleStory phase 2 test guide. Super easy to understand and made that test really easy. Now to the boss fight. Phase 1 was really easy and I didn't really have much difficulty. On to phase 2, which is a bit harder as your healing is locked and the harvest key unlocks it. And for some reason, it really messes me up. In this phase, I try to burst as fast as possible to try to move past. With the guides, the test is really simple. A warning though, if you use the pillar and crystals to determine where to stand in the test, don't use any moves that cover the background. For me, if I use Dominion, the background is gone and now I have to use muscle memory. On to phase 3. I try my best to stand behind him and consistently do damage. A lot of times I failed because the spiderwebs would close in on me and I would run out of time. But once I got it down, phase 3 was a lot easier. The one-shot moves are very easy to dodge as they're telegraphed, and with it, I defeat Will and get access to the stone cobweb droplets. With both bosses being beatable, I now have a way to get arcane gear, and also my next gear progression. And that was the video. I made huge gains for my Legion, and because of my successful Starforce, I was able to beat Normal Lucid and Will. I never thought I would be able to solo these bosses on my own, but look at where we are now. In the next coming weeks, I will hope to get my Arcane gear and maybe be strong enough to solo Hardamian, like I planned in my first video. That would be an amazing milestone. I'm also looking to get some boss damage and large HP familiars. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!